My mob boss husband brought his crew home for dinner. One of his guys saw all the food I'd made and laughed. A wife really is better than a side chick. I froze. Wait, what? He's got someone on the side? Nobody said a word. They all looked freaked out. Victor just laughed and put his arm around me. Don't listen to them. You're the only one I love.
He was so smooth about it.
I smiled back. But the second everyone left, I called my brother Alex.
He's a CEO.
Victor's cheating on me. Make sure he rots in jail. Alex went quiet for a few seconds. Serena, are you sure Victor he? I pulled off my wedding ring. The diamond cut into my hand. 10 years of marriage. I've personally ordered every single pair of cufflinks he owns. From Italy.
Tonight.
He wore cheap plastic ones. Get me the best lawyer you can find. Pull up every dirty thing he's ever done and draft the divorce papers. Okay, Alex said. 30 minutes later, I got an encrypted file on my phone. The first photo showed Victor with his arm around some hot young woman. She even had the same wolf tattoo on her wrist that Victor has.
I didn't waste time.
I drove straight to his company. Few minutes later, this woman named Lily came rushing out. When she saw me, she went white. She tried to hide her hands, but I'd already spotted it. A custom Swiss watch, the exact same one I got for my birthday. I laughed. Your husband must have the same taste as mine. Even your watch matches. Lily started shaking. Her mouth opened and closed before she finally stammered. Yeah, maybe guys all like the same stuff. Her knuckles were white from gripping her clothes. The act. You're Victor's mistress.
Aren't you?
She shook harder. Completely panicked. Please. You've got it wrong. Victor got hurt once, and I just helped him out. His guys misunderstood, that's all. She even bowed like 90 degrees, looking all innocent and hurt. If I hadn't seen the actual photos of her all over him, I might have bought it. 2 weeks ago, she posted a video on social media showing Victor buying a Porsche. Her caption said, "Where a man spends his money is where his heart is." That same day, I was home with a sky-high fever, completely out of it. I called Victor to take me to the hospital. He sounded worried for a second, then his voice got all raspy. Serena, I'll have the nanny take you. I've got something urgent. And, an hour later, my fever turned into pneumonia and I ended up in the ER. That same hour, she posted a photo. Lying across a car seat with some guy's ABS in the frame. Covered in red scratches. Caption. Both the new car and its owner need to be marked as mine. When Victor finally showed up, his shirt was buttoned wrong. He collapsed next to my bed with red eyes. Back then, I thought he felt bad for me. Turns out it was just guilt. After hooking up with her, I just felt sick. This trash was what Victor threw me away for. I didn't want to look at her fake innocent act anymore. So I left. But right as I got to my car, Victor called. He sounded panicked. Why do you suddenly go to the company? I started the car.
Just had a contract to discuss.
Is there something you don't want me to know? Victor clearly didn't expect that. His breathing stopped. Then, after a few seconds, his voice got soft and sweet. Reno, what are you talking about? I'm not hiding anything from you. The office was just messy. If you were coming, I would have had someone clean it up first. Besides, how could I cheat on you? Look into it all you want. That confused me. Lily hadn't told him. I confronted her. I scrolled through the evidence while he made excuses. 3 gigabytes of proof every single day. Last Valentine's Day, he said he was on a business trip and couldn't call. He was actually watching the northern lights in the Arctic with Lily. When my dad was dying, and I called him over 30 times, he didn't pick up once. He was celebrating Lily's birthday. I believe you.
But what about that? Watch.
Victor actually sounded relieved. His voice got closer. To the phone, trying to sound intimate. I fainted at the company and Lily happened to be there. She helped me to the hospital. She stayed with me all night. So I gave her a watch to say thanks. I forgot to tell you. Forgot. His memory must be really bad. He also forgot. They went to the penthouse suite that night and stayed for 3 days. I laughed to myself. He's pretty thoughtful. Even that black shirt you were wearing when you fainted the next day. She washed it and ironed it for you. Victor clearly paused. Then he laughed it off. Yeah, she's very helpful. See, you're being paranoid again. You're the only one I care about. His voice got all sweet. After I'm done with this busy period, I'll take you to the Maldives. Okay? Just us two. The sweetness that used to work on me now just made me sick. Sounds good, but handle your business first. Don't let anything get in the way. Nothing's more important than you, Victor said, trying to please me. I just felt cold, not because he cheated, but because I couldn't believe they've been playing me this whole time. I gripped the steering wheel tighter. I wanted to confront him, right then, but I held back. I wanted him to personally admit he was with Lily, then watch both of them crash and burn. After some quick responses, I hung up right then. Lily posted again on social media. She was wearing this wedding dress covered in diamonds. looking all happy. Another mistress tried to take my place. Today Victor made it up to me. He's finally going to marry me. I just mentioned wanting a castle wedding, and he bought me an entire castle. She smiled at the camera, which showed property deeds and these vineyards. He wants me to manage them. I don't know how, but Victor agreed to come help. So people won't look down on me for being young. I saw my own French name on those deeds. Cold rage hit me. Those vineyards were Alex's 18th birthday gift to me, and Victor was using them to impress his mistress. Fine, they want to show off. Let's see them try in front of the real owner. I bought a plane ticket that night and flew to France. At the winery, the old butler looked shocked when he saw me. Miss Serena, why are you here? Didn't you say you were lending the estate to Victor for a party today? You had all the family cleared out. I was furious. Just as I was about to answer, Victor called. I'm in a meeting. I'll fly back to you as soon as I'm done. Before I could answer, I heard some sickeningly sweet voice. Victor, does this look good on me? Victor covered the phone and walked away. Gotta go. Meeting starting right then. The winery gates opened and a bunch of luxury cars pulled up. A ton of people I've never seen sat down. I found a quiet spot. Once everyone was ready, Lily walked in wearing this fire-red designer gown, acting like she owned the place. Let me introduce myself.
I'm Lily,
The new owner of this winery. Victor said, from now on, the wine, the castle, every grape, it's all mine. To celebrate, all wines are 30% off today. I treat 30% off. How generous. The cheapest wine here costs at least $1 million a bottle. Some are collector's items. Even the British royal family can't get their hands on. The old butler, who raised me, was livid. Since when is this vineyard hers? Victor's cheating on Miss Serena, with some fling. Has he lost his mind? I shook my head quickly. Not yet. I wanted to wait for Victor to admit it himself. Then watch them both fall. The doors opened again, and Victor walked in wearing a designer suit. Lily threw herself into his arms, pulling on his sleeve playfully. Victor, I told you this brand's clothes look best on you. Victor's eyes flickered, but he nodded like nothing was wrong. The anger inside me was about to explode. The founder of that brand was our worst enemy. I set up my father, and he literally died of rage because of it. Victor knew this, and now he was publicly slapping me in the face. Just as I was about to storm out, all of Victor's friends crowded around Victor. She's so young and hot, so lively. Lily, Victor gave you a winery worth hundreds of millions. Where would you find a better man? This winery is yours now. How are you going to thank Victor? Everyone laughed. Lily blushed and looked down. Then the winery manager, who came to deliver wine, spoke up, confused. Wait, didn't you borrow this place from Miss Serena? Everyone went quiet, then started whispering.
What's she talking about?
I thought this vineyard belonged to Miss Blackwood. But isn't she a Sterling?
Huh.
But this woman's a Reed. Is she a fake? The manager looked angry. How could you do this behind Miss Serena's back?
He was about to call me.
Victor's bodyguards rushed forward and forced the manager to his knees. Victor's cold eyes swept the room. Rip out his tongue. Show him what happens when you talk nonsense. His voice wasn't loud, but it was ruthless. The whole room went silent. Victor didn't even blink, his fingers casually touching Lily's face. Lily is Mrs. Blackwood. Serena is just a maid in my house. A maid. I almost laughed from pure rage. Looks like Victor forgot who pushed him to the top. Step by step. If it wasn't for me, he'd still be some nobody getting kicked around on the streets. I spent 10 years fighting beside him. I took 2 stab wounds to the chest. I had Alex pull strings behind the scenes. When I was nearly dead, all I thought about was clearing the path. For him. And in the end, I'm just the maid in his story. Nobody there dared contradict Victor. So they all went along with it. Oh, that's how it is. Mrs. Blackwood is so generous letting her maid use the Blackwood name. Someone turned to Lily. Mrs. Blackwood, a maid like that might try to seduce Victor. You should be careful. I'd fire her immediately. With that kind of attitude, she deserves to be thrown in the ocean. Lily looked so smug, the manager's face was pale. Even as they dragged him away, he kept fighting. I need to see Miss Serena. She's the real Mrs. Blackwood. The guests looked disgusted. That maid is really cunning. Even the winery manager fell for it. Ungrateful bitch. Victor, you can't keep her around. Victor's cold eyes swept the crowd. I'll say this once, Lily is my wife. From now on, anyone who disrespects her will deal with me. Total silence. Then I slowly started clapping. Everyone turned around. I took off my baseball cap and stared at them. Tell me if she's Mrs. Blackwood.
Who am I?
Victor's and Lily's smiles instantly froze. The silence that fell over the winery wasn't quiet. It was heavy. It was the kind of silence that precedes a gunshot. Victor's face went through a kaleidoscope of expressions: shock, confusion, and finally, a terrifying, cornered animal panic. Lily, holding her champagne glass, looked at me, then at Victor, her smile trembling like a candle flame in a draught. "Serena?" Victor breathed. The confident timbre of his voice was gone, replaced by the squeak of a boy caught stealing. "What? What are you doing here?" I didn't answer him. I walked slowly down the stone steps, my heels clicking a rhythm that echoed off the vaulted ceiling. I walked right past him, the hem of my coat brushing his expensive suit, the suit I paid for, and stopped in front of the winery manager who was still being held down by the bodyguards. "Let him go," I said softly. The bodyguards hesitated. They looked at Victor. I turned, my voice raising just an octave, sharp as a diamond cutter. "Let him go. Unless you want your families back in Chicago to find out exactly who funds your payroll." The recognition hit the head of security first. Big Mike. He knew. He knew I handled the accounts. He knew I laundered the money through Alex's shell corporations. He dropped the manager immediately and took a step back, head bowed. "Miss Serena," Mike mumbled. "It's Mrs. Blackwood," Lily shrieked, finding her voice. She stomped her foot, the diamonds on her dress catching the light. "Victor."
Tell them.
"She's the maid." Why is everyone listening to the maid? Victor finally snapped out of his trance. He rushed toward me, hands up, flashing that charming smile that used to make my knees weak. Now, it just looked like a grimace. "Babe, Rena, listen," he stammered, blocking my path. "It's a joke. It's a role-play thing.
For the guests.
You know how the boys get. We were just surprising you." "Surprising me?" I tilted my head. "By giving my family's estate to your whore?" The crowd gasped. "Don't call her that," Victor hissed, his eyes darting to his associates. "Serena, go to the car. We'll talk about this at home. You're making a scene. You're embarrassing me." "I'm embarrassing you?" I laughed. It was a dry, humorless sound. I reached into my bag and pulled out a thick envelope. "You just told a room full of Europe's elite that I'm your maid. You told them this castle belongs to her." I turned to the crowd. "Does anyone want to know the truth?" "Serena, stop." Victor grabbed my wrist. I twisted my arm, a move he taught me, and slapped him. The sound cracked like a whip. The force of it turned his head. "Don't touch me," I said, my voice deadly calm. "You touched her, and then you touched me. I feel dirty just looking at you." I ripped the envelope open and tossed the contents into the air. Dozens of papers fluttered down like snow. "Deeds," I announced. "Bank transfers. The registration for the Porsche. The receipt for the castle wedding dress. And, most importantly, the prenup." One of Victor's business partners, a Russian named Volkov, picked up a piece of paper. He squinted at it, then looked at Victor with a dark scowl. "Victor," Volkov rumbled. "This deed says property of Serena Sterling. Trust. Not Blackwood." "It's a mistake," Lily cried out. She ran to Victor, clutching his arm. "Tell them, baby. Tell them you bought it for me." Victor shoved her off. It was a brutal, reflexive motion. Lily stumbled back, crashing into a table of appetizers. "Shut up, Lily," Victor snarled. He looked at me, his eyes pleading. "Rena, please. The Sterling family? I know this looks bad, but think about us. 10 years. We built this empire."
We.
I stepped closer. "I built it. You wore the suits. I ordered the hits. I washed the money. I smoothed things over with the cops. You were the face, Victor. I was the brain. And the heart." I looked at the old butler, Jean-Luc, who was weeping silently in the corner. "Jean-Luc, bring the 1945 Romani Conti. The one my father saved for his first grandchild." "Oui, mademoiselle," Jean-Luc said, straightening his back. "What are you doing?" Victor asked, sweat beading on his forehead. "I'm celebrating," I said. "My freedom." Jean-Luc returned with the bottle. It was dusty, priceless. I took it. "Lily said drinks were 30% off, right?" I asked. I smashed the bottle onto the stone floor. The purple liquid exploded, staining the hem of Lily's white wedding dress. She screamed as the wine soaked into the fabric. "Actually," I smiled. "Everything here is off limits. Get out." "You can't kick us out," Victor blustered, trying to regain control of his men. "Boys, clear the room. Get Serena to the jet." Nobody moved. I pulled out my phone. "Alex? Do it." I put the phone on speaker. "Done." Alex's voice came through, crisp and cold. "Victor's accounts are frozen. The Cayman shells have been liquidated. The credit cards are dead. And I just emailed the evidence of his racketeering to the FBI, Interpol, and oh yes, the Ricci family." Victor went pale. The Riccis were the rivals we had buried years ago. If they knew Victor was vulnerable— You snitch," Victor whispered. "You'd ruin me? You'd send me to jail? I'm your husband." "I'm just the maid," I said, turning my back on him. And maids don't have husbands. They just have trash to take out. Security, I barked. Big Mike stepped forward. Throw them out, I ordered. And strip him of the suit. I paid for that, too. The humiliating photos of Victor standing outside the winery gates in his boxers, shivering next to a weeping Lily in a wine-stained wedding dress, broke the internet before I even landed back in New York. Hashtag mob boss striptease was trending worldwide. I sat in the back of the Maybach Alex had sent for me. Alex was sitting next to me, typing furiously on his laptop. You okay? He asked, not looking up. No, I said, staring out the window at the city lights. But I will be.
He's calling the house line, Alex said.
He's calling Mom. He's calling everyone. He's claiming you've had a mental break. That you're hysterical.
Let him talk, I said.
A man with no money has no voice. The next few days were a blur of lawyers and logistics. I didn't just want a divorce. I wanted an erasure. Victor tried to return to our penthouse. The locks were changed. The doorman, a man I'd helped get a green card for, looked Victor in the eye and said, Miss Sterling does not wish to see you. Victor tried to go to his club. The IRS had raided it that morning, acting on an anonymous tip that detailed the double ledgers kept in the floor safe. He had nowhere to go but Lily's apartment. I had eyes everywhere. I knew exactly what was happening in that cramped little studio. He's drinking heavily, my private investigator reported 3 days later. And they're fighting. Loudly. The neighbors called the cops twice. Good, I said, sipping my tea. What about the watch? He pawned it, the PI said. Got 10 grand for it. Not bad for a stolen gift. And the money? Spent on a retainer for a criminal defense lawyer. But the PI hesitated. Nobody good will take him. The Ricci family put a word out on the street. Anyone who helps Victor Blackwood is an enemy of the cartel. I nodded. This was the isolation phase. But Victor wasn't done. I knew him. He was a cornered rat, and rats bite. On the 5th day, I was leaving my office building, the legitimate one, where I managed the Sterling legitimate holdings. The underground garage was empty. As I approached my car, a van screeched to a halt. The side door slid open. 3 men in masks jumped out. I didn't scream. I didn't run. I stood my ground. Get in, one of them shouted, grabbing my arm. Victor sent you? I asked calmly. Shut up. They shoved me into the van. It smelled of stale cigarettes and fear. Victor was sitting in the back, looking like a ghost of himself. He was unshaven, wearing a cheap hoodie, his eyes bloodshot. You pushed me to this, Rena, he rasped as the van peeled out. I didn't want to do this. Kidnapping? I adjusted my blazer. That's a federal offense, Victor. You're adding 20 years to your sentence. I'm not going to jail, he screamed, slamming his fist against the wall. You're going to fix this. You're going to call Alex. You're going to tell the feds it was a mistake. You're going to transfer the funds back. Or what? He pulled out a gun. My gun. The custom Beretta I gave him for our 5th anniversary. Or I kill you, he said. His hand was shaking. And then I kill myself. I looked at the gun, then at his eyes. I saw the fear there. But I also saw the hesitation. He was used to ordering violence, not committing it personally. That was always the difference between us. He liked the idea of power. I liked the reality of control. You won't shoot me, I said. Try me, he shouted, pressing the barrel to my forehead. The metal was cold. You won't shoot me because you need me, I said. Without me, you're just a thug in a hoodie. With me, you were a king. I loved you, he cried, tears leaking from his eyes. Why did you have to be so hard? Lily made me feel like a man. You made me feel like an employee. Because you acted like one, I said coldly. A CEO doesn't cheat. A king doesn't risk his kingdom for a piece of tail with a wolf tattoo. He sobbed, a wretched sound. Just fix it, Rena.
Please.
I'll leave Lily. I'll do whatever you want. Just make the heat stop. The van slowed down. We're here, the driver said.
Where?
Victor asked, wiping his eyes. The police station, the driver said. Victor froze. What? The driver pulled off his mask. It was Big Mike. The other 2 kidnappers pulled off their masks. They were my security team. Victor looked around, the realization crashing down on him. He hadn't kidnapped me. I had allowed him to pick me up. I bought your crew, Victor, I whispered, leaning into his ear. I bought them years ago. Did you really think they were loyal to you? They were loyal to the paycheck. And I signed the checks. The back doors opened. Police officers were waiting, guns drawn. Alex stood behind them, looking bored. Victor Blackwood, a detective shouted. Drop the weapon. Victor looked at the gun in his hand, then at me. You set me up, he whispered. No, I said, stepping out of the van and smoothing my skirt. I just let you be yourself. Victor dropped the gun. They tackled him instantly. As they dragged him away, screaming my name, I didn't look back. The trial was the social event of the season. Victor tried to plead insanity. Then he tried to plead coercion. He tried to blame me for his crimes, saying I was the mastermind. It didn't work. I had the paper trail. Every illegal order he gave was recorded. Every signature was his. I had been careful for 10 years. I kept my hands clean while he dirted his. Lily testified against him. That was the cherry on top. To save her own skin, to avoid being charged as an accomplice, she spilled everything. She told the court about the hidden safes, the bribes, the murders he bragged about in bed. She looked terrible on the stand. The glamour was gone. She was wearing a cheap suit, her hair dull. She wouldn't look at Victor, and he stared at her with pure hatred. The judge gave him life without parole. When the gavel banged, Victor didn't scream. He just slumped. He looked small. I walked out of the courthouse, putting on my sunglasses. The paparazzi were swarming. Mrs. Blackwood. Mrs. Blackwood. How do you feel? It's Miss Sterling. I corrected them into the microphones. And I feel clean. Alex was waiting in the car. It's done, he said. Not quite, I said. Where is she? Lily? She's waiting in your office. She thinks you're going to give her a payout for testifying. I laughed. Drive. Lily was sitting in my office, looking nervous. When I walked in, she stood up. I did what you asked, she said quickly. I buried him. He's gone forever. So, about the deal? I walked behind my desk and sat down in the leather chair. It was comfortable. It fit me. The deal. I mused.
Right.
You wanted money to start over. Maybe go to LA? Become an actress? Yes, she said eagerly. I can be a star. I just need a start. I slid a folder across the desk. What's this? She asked, opening it. An eviction notice for your apartment, I said. A lawsuit for the return of all gifts purchased with stolen funds. That includes the jewelry, the clothes, and the car. And a cease and desist order preventing you from ever using the name Blackwood or Sterling in any media. Lily's face crumbled. But you promised. I promised I wouldn't send you to jail with him, I said. I kept that promise. You're free. Free? She looked at the papers. I have nothing. I have debt. I can't pay this back. Then I suggest you get a job, I said, opening my laptop. I hear they're hiring maids at the hotel down the street. It's honest work. You might learn some humility. You be asterisk teach, she screamed, lunging across the desk. Security was there in a second, dragging her back. Get her out of here, I said, not looking up from my screen. And make sure she doesn't take the pen. It's a Mont Blanc. 6 months later, I was back in France at the vineyard. The harvest was coming in. The grapes were plump and dark, sweet with the promise of a good vintage. I walked through the rows, feeling the earth under my boots. Miss Sterling. I turned. It was Jean-Luc holding a phone. It is the prison, madam. The warden. I took the phone. This is Serena. Miss Sterling, the warden said. Inmate Blackwood is requesting a visitation. He says it's urgent. He's not doing well. The other inmates found out he used to be a boss but ratted on his own people. He's in protective custody, but he's begging to see you. He says he just wants to apologize. I looked out over the rolling hills of my estate. I thought about the 10 years I spent building a man who thought I was disposable. I thought about the plastic cufflinks. I thought about the fever I endured alone while he was with her. Miss Sterling, the warden asked. What should I tell him? Tell him, I said, watching a hawk circle the blue sky, that the maid is on her break. I hung up the phone and handed it back to Jean-Luc. Bad news, madam? No. I smiled, breathing in the scent of crushed grapes and victory. Just old business. Finally settled. I walked back toward the castle, my castle, where a new life was waiting. I didn't need a king. The queen was doing just fine on her own.